Hello and welcome to another Magic the Gathering video. There's been a bit of a gap since my last video. I've just been bogged down in other projects that have been very time consuming and needed to get done. So the video shooting took a bit of a back burner. So I'm going to try and bring things back on track, get up to date. Last weekend we had the Speed versus Cunning Duel decks released. And I was actually over in the UK when that came out. So I picked up a copy of it over in, what would that be like? Yeah, I was in London, and it would have been Forbidden Planet on Shaftesbury Avenue. So I thought I'd snap it up then, because you can never tell how popular these dual decks are going to be, because they've got a lot of cards from way back. Anyway, so we've got the dual deck in front of us here. One thing to note before we start unboxing it is that one of the lead cards in this, which is Arcanus the Omnipotent, has actually been used as a lead card in the theme deck before. It was actually used in the 10th edition core set theme decks. There were 5 of these and they were all monocolour, so it was the blue one, and it was called Arcanus's Guile. So this is the actual card from that one. So you can see the artwork is slightly different there. So let's crack open this dual deck, have a look at the cards. One thing you'll notice as well, and I'm assuming this is as a lead up to the new set that will be coming out soon. Both of these decks draw their colours from colour wedges, and I'll explain once we start unboxing these exactly what a colour wedge is in Magic. Also, as you may or may not already know, there's a few cards in here which are from a set that's not at this time has not yet been released. So there's 6 cards in here from Khans of Tarkir, which at the time I'm shooting this video hasn't actually come out yet. So here's the 2 decks. Let's just open up our dual deck guide. So Speed versus Cunning. Looking here, so the deck with, where's he gone? Oh, there he is, Arcanus the Omnipotent. So that card was printed way back in Onslaught, and as I mentioned, also cropped up in 10th edition. They reprinted it for that. So that would have had new card frames for 10th edition, but the old card frames for Onslaught. So it'd be interesting if I could track down that one actually. So yeah, we got a blue, white, red deck going on, although the lead card is mono blue. And the other deck is a red, white, black deck. And in that, the lead card is that one, which is Zergo Helm Smasher. And you can see that one is from the forthcoming Khans of Tarkir. And that's 2 red, white, black. So that uses all the colours that feature in this deck. Now, both of these lead cards are legendaries. So obviously that's going to have relevance for things like EDH. So already, particularly this Zergo Helm Smasher, if you're looking for a commander for that particular wedge colour, then this is a possible candidate if you wanted to build an EDH deck round Zergo. Now I keep talking about wedges, so just for those that don't know what is a colour wedge in Magic. So if you look at the back of a Magic card, it's easiest to see this. Some of you may already be familiar with shards. So with shards, the 3 colour combination is the 3 adjacent colours. So there's a shard of green, white, blue, there's a shard of white, blue, black, of blue, black, red, of black, red, green. And they were all named in the Shards of Alara block. They were sort of the different planes of Alara. Now a wedge, by contrast, is 2 allied colours, that's ones that are side by side, and the enemy colour, which is across from those, the shared enemy colour. So for instance here, red, black, white would be a wedge, black, blue, green, and the next wedge, blue, white, red, and then finally white, green, black, and then obviously green, red, blue. I'm just thinking about that. So there's 5 basically. There's five wedges, 5 shards. So in the new set, colour wedges, I believe, are going to be pretty, obviously the prominent thing. So first, let's look at the Arcanus, the Omnipotent. So we start off with a monocolour legendary in this, but the cards are from a particular wedge, which is, well, this card gives it away. It's red, white, and blue. So Arcanus, the Omnipotent, is 3 colourless and 3 blue for a 3/4. It's got a couple of abilities on it. You can tap it and draw 3 cards. You can also, or alternatively, you can play 2 colourless and 2 blue to return Arcanus the Omnipotent to its owner's hand. So you're able to bounce it. Let's actually look at the rest of the deck here. So these are 60 card decks. And also, because we're like post 2015 core set, we've now got these new frames where you also will see on some cards the sort of holographic element now, and the frames have changed, the layout of the frames has changed. So Lightning Angel is our one colourless red, white, blue for 3/4 with flying, vigilance and haste. 1,000 Winds, another rare, 4 and 2 blue for 5/6 with flying on it. It's a creature elemental. It's got Morph, 5 colourless, 2 blue. So with Morph, what happens is you cast the card. You can cast the card face down if you want to, and by doing it that way, it's a 2/2 creature, and it costs 3 colourless to cast. You can turn it face up at any time for its morph cost, which is 5 colourless and 2 blue. And when 1,000 Winds is turned face up, return all other tapped creatures to their owner's hands. So in summary, you can cast this straight for 4 colourless and 2 blue, or you can cast it for 3 colourless face down as a 2/2 creature, and then if you want to, play 5 colours and 2 blue to flip it. And also this other ability triggers when you do that. Then we've got another rare here, Sphinx of Yuthun, 5 and 2 blue for 5/6 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you reveal the top 5 cards of your library. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. You put 1 pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Hold the Line, another rare, 1 and 2 white. Blocking creatures get +7/+7 until end of turn, and that's 7/7. Steam Augury, another instant, another rare, 2 blue red. Reveal the top 5 cards of your library and separate them into 2 piles. An opponent chooses one of those piles, put that pile into your hand and the other into your graveyard. Jeskai Elder, so this is a uncommon. It's got prowess on it, so whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. Fairy Imposter, another uncommon, and there's 2 of those in the deck. Coral Trickster, this is a common, it's got morph on it, and there's something that triggers when it's turned face up, and there's 2 of those. Fathom Seer, another common, 2 of those, that's also got morph on it. Willbender, another morph card, so we've got a lot of morph going on in this deck. Spark Mage Apprentice, Lone Missionary, Master Decoy, Echo Tracer, Core Hook Master, Stone Cloaker, Aquamorph Entity, 2 of those, Assar Patrol, Fairy Invaders, Fleeting Distraction, Stave Off, Swift Justice, Impulse, Mana Leak. One thing you'll notice, all of the non-creature spells in here are instants. There's not any sorceries in this deck. Lightning Helix, Inferno Trap, Traumatic Visions, 2 of those, Whiplash Trap, Arrow Volley Trap, Repeal. We have Mystic Monastery. So Mystic Monastery enters the battlefield tapped. You can tap it to add blue, red or white to your mana pool. So this is mana fixing for the wedge. There's 2 of those. There's also Terramorphic Expanse, which allows you to fetch out a basic land card and put it into your battlefield tapped to sack it. So that's really handy again for just fixing the colour using the basic lands, hunting those down. And then of course we've got our land base here. So this is all basic lands, and this is going to be in blue, red, and finally in a moment we'll see the plains, the white on there. So that's our first deck with the Arcanus the Omnipotent as the lead card. I'm just going to check something and just go through the list of that particular deck and just see what other cards in there what were from the upcoming ones. So the Jeskai Elder was from Khans of Tarkir. The Thousand Winds was also from the upcoming set. And the Mystic Monastery also was from there. So let's move on to the second deck in this duel deck. So this is Zergo Helm Smasher. So for 2 colourless red, white, black we get Legendary Creature Orc Warrior, which is a 7/2. Has haste. Zergo Helm Smasher attacks each combat if able. Zergo Helm Smasher has indestructible as long as it's your turn. Whenever a creature dealt damage by Zergo Helm Smasher this turn dies, put a +1/+1 counter on Zergo Helm Smasher. And now moving on to the actual main deck. So this is a rare. This is Hell's Thunder. 1 colourless, 2 red. Creature elemental, 4/4 with flying and haste. At the beginning of the end step, sacrifice Hell's Thunder. It's got Unearth on it, so 4 colourless red. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield. It gains haste. Exile it at the beginning of the next end step, or if it would leave the battlefield. Unearth only as a sorcery. There's also Krenko Mob Boss in this deck, so we've got 2 legendary creatures in here. 2 colourless, 2 red for a 3/3. You can tap Krenko, put an XX11 red goblin creature token onto the battlefield, where X is the number of goblins you control. So we're not going to be surprised to see several goblins in this deck, which are going to make that ability more effective. We've got Ogre Battle Driver, 2 colourless, 2 red, another rare. It's a 3/3. Whenever other creatures, whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, that creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Fury of the Horde. So we have some sorceries in this deck. So this is 5 colourless, 2 red, so it's pretty high casting cost. You may exile 2 red cards from your hand rather than pay Fury of the Horde's mana cost, and tap all creatures that attacked this turn. After this main phase, there is an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Banefire, another rare. X and a red. Banefire does X damage to target creature or player. If X is 5 or more, Banefire can't be countered by spells or abilities, and the damage can't be prevented. Now we've also got some tokens in here. There's a Goblin Creature token. Frenzied Goblin. Whenever a Frenzied Goblin attacks, you may pay red. If you do, target creature can't block this turn. That's an uncommon. So, Infantry Veteran. Leonin Snarecaster. 2 of those. Dregscape Zombie. 2 of those. Goblin Death Raiders are in the deck. Hellraiser Goblin. So we've got several, as I said, several goblins here. Fleshbag Marauder. Goblin War Chief. Cathari Bomber. Also got Unearth on it. Shambling Remains. Another card with Unearth, so there's an Unearth theme going through here. Mardy Heart Piercer has Raid on it. So this is 3 and a red for a 2/3 with Raid. Whenever Mardy Heart Piercer enters the battlefield, if you attacked with a creature this turn, Mardy Heart Piercer deals 2 damage to target creature or player. When Beetleback Chief enters the battlefield, put 2 and 1 red goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. So that's going to be handy for Krenko. And there's a second one of those. Flamekin Zealot. Scourge Devil. Unearth on that. Oni of Wild Places. Reckless Abandon. Shock. Bone Splinters. Arc Trail. So got some burn in here, not surprisingly, with a red component in the deck. Goblin Bombardment. Krenko's Command, that generates 2 1/1 red goblin creature tokens for 1 and a red. And there's 2 of those. We've got an Act of Treason in here. It's great for obviously gaining control of opponents' creatures. Dauntless Onslaught. Orcish Cannonade. Fiery Fall. 2 of those. Evolving Wilds is in here for fixing. Again, it'll search down basic land cards. We've got Gitu Encampment. So this is a land which will generate red mana. It enters the battlefield tapped, but in addition to generating red mana, you can also pay 1 and a red, and it becomes a 2/1 red warrior creature with first strike until end of turn. It's still a land. Nomad Outpost is our fixing for this particular shard. So this will fix for red, white, black. And there's 2 of those. There's the other goblin token. And then we've got our basic lands here. We've got our mountains. Our plains. And some swamps. So that was the second deck. The Zergo Helm Smasher deck, if you want to think of it as that. And I'm just going to again look back at the list just to reiterate what we had here. So yeah, the Khans of Tarkir stuff was basically the Mardu Heart Piercer, the Zergo Helm Smasher, and those non-basic lands, basically the Nomad Outpost. But it is, you know, I do like these dual decks, particularly if you've been playing Magic for a little while, because you know you've got stuff from all over the place. You got Ravnica Staff 2015, Theros, Shards of Alara, Gatecrash, Scourge, Conflux, Plane Chase is in there, Saviors of Kamigawa, Stronghold, Urza, some Cold Snap there, Hordes of Fury was from that, and Tempest stuff in here, Master Decoy, both from Tempest and 9th edition, Legion stuff, yeah. You get a nice sort of smattering of Magic cards from throughout Magic's history. And I think because of that, it does appeal to an awful lot of different types of Magic players. This dual decks, I always got the impression were often popular with you know, EDH players before there was lots of EDH sealed product available, because it was a good way of getting hold of some of the older cards. Okay, so there you have it. I don't remember what that was called. That was Speed versus Cunning dual deck. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.